Healthy Eating Workshops. Clinical psychologists Emma McGibbon, Jane Waite and Gemma Wilson. Dietitians Kenneth Mitchie and Sarah Flack. During the BBS UK conference in September, we had the opportunity to meet together as professionals, parents of children and young people with BBS and people with BBS, to talk together about healthy eating. We know that everyone has times in their lives when they have been able to eat more healthily and when it hasn't felt possible. We recognise that we often know what we should be eating, but it can be tricky to do this. Below are some of the tips and strategies that were shared with each other. Top tips: managing portion sizes, making batches of meals and freezing them in separate containers, buying one treat at a time, that is, one single-sized chocolate bar rather than multi-packs or large-sized chocolate bars, weighing and measuring food before eating. When the weather is cold and dark, be aware that you might crave more comfort food. If you don't buy it, you won't be tempted to eat it. Motivation. Notice how when you eat less healthily, you can feel more tired and inactive. When you eat more healthily, you can often feel more energetic and happier. Sometimes motivation can come from a health scare, such as a doctor telling you that you may become unwell if you don't change your eating habits. Take action before this happens. When trying to lose weight, it can help to focus on a goal. Attend a slimming club to help you maintain your motivation. Ask friends or family to help you with encouraging comments. Make healthy choices. Each small step can build into a success. Snacking tips. Keep healthier treats close by. Eat something healthy before eating something unhealthy. This way you can work out if you are actually hungry or just wanting the treat. Avoid sugary drinks and make simple changes, for example, swap higher calorie or alcoholic drinks for soft drinks. Eat before you go shopping so that you are less hungry and more likely to buy what you know is healthy. Plan ahead what you will eat each day and plan meals for the week. Think about the support that you might need with preparing or cooking meals. Ask personal assistants and carers, friends or family to help you with this. We also heard about how challenging it can be to eat healthily. Sometimes you might have limited help from carers or personal assistants, or healthy food is more expensive than highly processed foods. This is where planning ahead and asking for advice from professionals will be especially important. Socially, it can be difficult to say no to meals out. However, having occasional treats is not going to be as big of a deal if you aim to eat healthily for the majority of the time. We thought about how different things work at different ages and stages for our children. When they are younger, we have more control over what happens day to day and more contact with teachers at primary school. As children get older, there are new challenges, perhaps because they are physically bigger. They want more independence and can make their own choices, particularly if they are at mainstream secondary school. Busy home lives can make healthy eating a challenge. There are barriers to physical activity, and we reflected on the opportunities for exercise again as children get older and become teenagers. Patient Experience and Involvement Project. This project was supported by assistant psychologist Emilia Roselli, Gemma Wilson and Sarah Flack. The psychology and dietetics team in the BBS clinic at Great Ormond Street Hospital recently carried out a project to explore parental views on the ways they support healthy eating and activities in children with BBS and their families. This involved holding telephone interviews with parents of children who were seen in the BBS clinic over the past year. 10 families with children of a range of ages, abilities and cultural backgrounds were offered the opportunity to take part, out of which 7 families completed telephone interviews. The interview prompted parents to reflect on the conversations they had in their most recent appointments with a dietitian and clinical psychologist and the advice they were given. 3 out of 7 families reported that their conversations with the clinical psychologist also covered their concerns about diet or food-related behaviours and/or challenging behaviour around encouraging activity. Parents were encouraged to reflect on whether they had been able to use the advice given to them to make changes to their children's diet and activity levels, and if so, how difficult this had been to achieve. Some parents reported that changes had been difficult to make because they had been too busy. And we also learnt that families have been having trouble finding accessible exercise clubs for their children and young people. Other families reported that they were able to make positive changes using personalised strategies that worked well for their child. The interview asked parents for their thoughts about the clinic offering a joint appointment with the clinical psychologist and dietitian to discuss diet or food-related behaviours and/or challenging behaviour around encouraging activity. All 7 families felt this would be helpful, and different age points when this might be most beneficial were discussed. 4 families felt this would have been most helpful when their child was younger, whereas 2 families felt this would be more helpful when their child approached teenage years. This project highlighted some of the barriers parents face in supporting their children to make positive changes to their diet and activity levels, and emphasised the fact that children will respond differently to strategies for supporting these changes. It emerged that parents would find it helpful to be offered a joint appointment with the clinical psychologist and dietitian to discuss diet or food-related behaviours and/or challenging behaviour around encouraging activity. We learnt that the age points at which this would be most beneficial also differs for each family.